we're on.
Testicles, 1, 2. Testicles.
Testicles. There's only
Welcome.
one way I can start with you, bro. That's the only way.
Thank you so much, man.
I am so excited to have you, man. I was very lucky to be on your show a couple of weeks ago. We had a great conversation. I love your energy. You're awesome dude. You've got a fantastic show. I should say your name. Welcome, Trebles Garcia. Thank you very much for being here, man. Very excited to have you. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and about your awesome show?
Bro, the privilege was all mine. Having you on my show was an amazing experience. I think we had a really good introduction to what you do, and we should have you back. Again, I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here today, and I want to thank every single one of you guys for allowing me to enter your space. Guys, I am on the Let's Get Freaky show. My name is Trebles Garcia. I am the humble host of Paranoi Radio Podcast. It's a conspiracy show with a government element, and it revolves around cryptids, conspiracies, true crime, and documentaries, health, and all that good stuff. And I consider myself the mainstream media. Now, I consider you the mainstream media. I consider podcasting mainstream media now. So extremely excited to be here, humbled. And again, thank you so much for sharing your platform.
Oh, thank you, brother. It's an honor. It's an honor. And you're right, though. I do think, like, especially with your type of show as well, it is the media, 100%. I like, and we spoke a little bit about on your show free speech and how important I think that is, and how you think that is, and how most people think free speech is important, I think. And that's why on Let's Get Freaky, we're about free speech. I know we are on your show as well, 100%. And I think that is very important, man. I think we can never forget that. And that's what's so great about podcasts, in my opinion. They're not run by anyone. You know, it's normally, it's either a one-man ship or it's a group of people running it. It's not, no corporations, no, that no one's, I mean, I guess some podcasts are, some are maybe mainstream, I don't know. But most podcasts, it's free. And that's what I love about podcasting, man.
Yeah, same here, bro. Same here. This is the only reason why I stayed sober, and I've dialed my kids ain't home and my family ain't home for like about a month. So I'm on my third week of just overbooking, recording 2 to 3 episodes a day. And I'm gonna tell you something, I am more happy than ever. I'm exhausted at the same time, but it's my passion, bro. And I do it straight out of raw passion. I know that at the end of the day, the numbers will fall where they may, when God allows them to, and the success will come, the money will come, but I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for sharing moments, networking, talking to people that are like-minded, and obviously putting out the information and motivating people to take 5 seconds of their day to do some research. I like to say hashtag look it up on the show, GTS, which means Google that shit. I'm sorry if I'm cursing.
No, you can swear, man. Free speech, brother. Free speech.
Free speech. So yeah, man, that's the point of having a podcast platform, is to not only share information, but also network and uplift the newcomers. And the show has been growing steadily. The past 5 years took me forever, but in LA, there's a lot of gatekeepers, and I myself, I am probably one of the only Latinos out here that's bilingual and trying to do the shows in Spanish and English. And it's conspiracy topics. Not a lot of people take that very easily. It's emotional. It's people get out of their comfort zone, and that's one of the biggest problems here in LA. Not only LA, but in the United States, where people like to be in their comfort zone, and it's a phenomenon, bro. Because people lose themselves. They forget where they come from. They forget that they're also creators, and that instead of just taking opinions off TikTok University and YouTube, they could also do the research themselves. And formulate their own opinion and get out of that hamster wheel. I like to say. So yeah, the show is amazing, bro, and then yours is amazing too. Thank you again.
Oh, thank you, bro. And you work really hard. You put a lot of episodes out. There's a lot of content there, and and you've got great energy as well, man. I love your vibe, your energy. So it's great. It's awesome, man. So I've been very excited to have you on here. Been very excited. I know as we're recording this, there's some troubles going on in LA right now, which it's hard to see. There's a lot of tensions are high. Are you close to all that sort of thing going on? Or are you? I know LA's a big place.
I'm in the heart, bro. I'm in the heart. So LA is divided into, I want to say, 3 sections, which is the hills. It would be, North Hollywood, West Hollywood, Beverly Hills, etc. All the, the Malibu, the beach area. Then you have downtown LA, which is where most of the scenario is happening. And then you have the flats. And we're talking about intermediate LA, not LA County. And the valleys. We have 2 valleys as well, San Fernando Valley and San Gabriel Valley. But I live in the flats, which is the South LA, which is probably the ghetto area of LA, where the culture comes from, because that's where people come with their, their pro clubs and their Chuck Norrises and the gang culture and the Chicano culture and the lowriders. And this is where it comes from, right? And I'm not even from here. I'm actually from the little city of El Monte. But I moved out here, and I live in Southgate now, and probably shouldn't be saying that, but yeah, bro, I'm in the heart. I'm in the heart, and the riots in LA here. It's not only an emotional roller coaster, bro, because over 20% of LA people are immigrants, right? But it's an emotional roller coaster because people get driven by where they come from instead of where they're going, and they forget that a country without laws, without anybody upholding those laws, and without borders, it ceases to be a country. So if you want your children to have a beautiful future, you have to limit to what you're giving now to the people. And it's not 1960s where people were coming into this country where people were happy and love to be in this country. A lot of people that are coming in here just coming in here because it's beneficial. It's not, I never, like I said in one of my posts recently, I've never met anybody that's more patriotic about their country except for people that don't live in their country. And I know this is going to hurt. It's going to be controversial. And look who's telling you. It's a Latino. My last name is Garcia, goddammit. You see what I'm saying? Like, and when I speak myself out, I stay indoors right now because I got death threats, bro. I posted a video up that, and I know this is not a political show and I don't want to make it political.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man.
One of my posts hit a run of likes, and people were sharing it, and I don't consider it viral, but for me it went viral because my level of attention and engagement that I have on social media is not as big as it should be. But that one took off, and it was shared by bigger channels, and people were messaging me, bro. They got my number. People were messaging like, "We're gonna find out where you live. We're gonna fuck you up. We're gonna kill you. We're gonna get you." Like death threats, bro. So I pulled out the Beretta, and I've been sleeping with the Beretta next to me, and I'm happy that my kids and my wife ain't home. But I slept with the Beretta next to me for the last freaking week. We're on the 7th night of rioting, bro.
Man.
And yeah, so it's real. It's real. The hate is real. And kind of like when I started that rant on that post, I started with, I don't know any other type of culture, people's race, and I don't believe in races, but race that has more self-hatred and lives like crabs in a bucket more than Latinos. We are the pinnacle of racism, bro. We're racist within each other. We're racist with people from different nations, and even though we speak the same language and have the same color skin, like we're just racist as hell. So that's just something that we have to face. We have beautiful culture, we have beautiful families, we have beautiful food, beautiful women, but it's when it comes to the nitty-gritty, we're selfish as hell, and we would burn each other out very, very fast. The loyalty goes out the window when it comes down to money. And I think with a lot of people it's like that, it's common sense.
Yeah.
But when I say things like that, people think I'm not qualified enough or I'm a snake. And just today, people were calling me a snake at work. They were like, "Hey, this is at work." Like, am I intermediate work? Like people
because
saw
of
that
this
post. Because of the post, and just because what? I'm Latino, I'm brown, I have to be on your side. Look, guys, there's bad apples on both trees. This is not a political podcast, and I'm not gonna make it political.
We can get political, no problem at all, man.
Well, it is get freaky, right?
We get freaky.
So yeah, bro, it's one of the biggest problems with people here is that they live in their emotions and they lost common sense. They lost it, bro. And it's a combination of divide and conquer. I'm not saying Trump is a god or a savior, but I also understand that I don't condone kids being wrapped up, the 4-year-old being chained or zip tied. I don't condone that. I know that's wrong, and I know. But you know what? Like I told one of my best friends when he came at me and they showed me those videos about those kids being tied up. You want to talk about the kids being tied up now by ICE? Why don't you talk about the kids that were lost at the border 4 years ago for over 4 million people that walked in through that border while Biden was in power? Oh, now you want to get to choose when to survive and when to protect the kids. No, I've been in this freaking war for a very long time. I've been in this freaking topic for a very long time. And I've been sharing this shit about the kids for a very long time. Don't come and pick and choose when to be a savior. Don't pull your empathy card or your sympathy card or human heart card or humanity card just because you see some kids now tied up. What about the kids that have never been seen, heard, lost? You see what I'm saying, right? So yeah, it's a very passionate topic, but people tend to only pick and choose parts of the Bible, parts of life, when to apply themselves fully instead of living black or white.
Yeah,
You're doing it right or you're doing it wrong, bro.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
100%. And it's weird. I mean, obviously we've all got our own political opinions and we follow, we're closer to left or right, whatever we are. But it's weird when people sort of, I don't know, when they're on one side and they'll sort of they'll dismiss the same thing that the other side's doing when it suits, if that makes sense. Both, obviously bad things have happened and are going to happen on both sides,
Oh yeah, it's
and
important to keep those people accountable. Like Trump, I'll keep him accountable. I
100%, all
voted
of
for
them,
him, but the dude's fucking
all of
slipping
them,
too. You know, like
all of
yeah.
them.
At the
Yeah.
end of the day, yeah.
I don't think we can trust any politician really, man.
Word, yeah. At this
Unfortunately,
point,
unfortunately, you know.
hmm hmm
But yeah,
yeah, man.
but I hope. I mean, that sounds terrible that you're getting threats and the people at work coming. I mean, that's you know, again, free speech. You've said what you believe and stand by that and
Mm-hmm.
people need
Mm-hmm.
to respect that, man. Not everyone's going to agree with you. That's life, unfortunately, but that's just the way it is. But yeah, you shouldn't be
Yeah.
getting threats, man. You're too much of a cool
It
guy.
shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't. You know what? And I know these people on a personal level,
Mm,
and we've shared food with each other. We've shared moments. We've shared stories. We've shared a table where we've all sat down and just had laughs. And for people to be like, oh, just because of what he said, or he doesn't believe what I believe, that's the problem. But at the end of
hmm
the day, bro, you're also an American. You're entitled to your own opinions, and that's what makes us American. Fighting about these discussions and having these debates. So it's very important that we continue being American and continue being free, at least to a certain degree. Now bashing other people, I never bashed. I passed 4 years of my life waiting for this moment to happen, and not necessarily taking kids out and stuff. All this, the fucked up shit about it.
hmm
But I waited enough time quietly, just accepting the truth and still supporting the people, even though they voted against me or I didn't care,
hmm
because that's what makes us society. That's what makes us human. That's what makes us American at the end of the day. So yeah, man, people they're not very emotionally educated
hmm
and enough to say, all right, we'll respect what you said, but let's move on. Let's not have this discussion. What's up? How was your day? No, they
hmm
can't do that. They have to stick to that because it hurts them so much. But yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Hmm
People are very tribal, brother, as well, aren't they? About any people at my work argue about football or soccer, should I say?
Get
And
ready.
that's
Get
crazy.
ready because on the 14th, but maybe I don't know when this episode's coming out, but that No Kings protest, which is an anti-Trump protest, is going to be
Is that tomorrow?
huge.
Yeah,
That's on Saturday.
yeah.
Um, and it's also the Army's 250th birthday, and it's also Donald Trump's birthday. He's going to have this massive
Whoa.
parade,
Yeah.
and they're having, and then the No Kings protest, anti-Trump protest, is not only happening in LA. It's going to happen in every single major city on all 50 states of the country,
hmm
combined with the ICE raids. That's going to get ugly, bro. So I'm staying indoors,
Yeah,
chilling.
yeah. Stay safe, brother. Yeah. I mean,
Hmm
I'm hearing a lot of reports of there's a lot of theories going around about what could happen that day, and I pray and I hope that you don't want anyone to get hurt when it comes to
hmm
these things. I'm sure there's going to be, I don't know what's going to happen. The tensions are very
Yeah,
high, but
tensions
hopefully,
are high.
hopefully not, man. Hopefully not.
Mm.
Hopefully,
Yeah,
just it's one of those. Yeah, we'll see what happens, but hopefully not, brother. Man, it's
it's real.
it is real. It is real, but and it is important that people like yourself talk about this, and come out
Mm.
and you're just being honest and giving your opinion, and yeah, brother.
Yeah, man.
So, but you talk a lot of stuff on your show. There's a lot. You go into a lot of different topics,
Yep.
conspiracy, all sorts of topics. What got you into these topics, and what set you on this journey that you're on now?
Cryptid up. I was cryptid. How do you say this? Paranormally activated, and I've never had entities like ghosts and stuff like that. But I've seen a freaking elf in my life, bro. And this is the most awkward way to shift into this conversation.
Not on
But
this show.
yes, we're just getting freaky.
Let's
So
go.
yeah, bro. I've had an encounter when I was very young. So that's not what really pushed me off. What pushed me off was that I was as a teenager and young adolescent. I never found myself. I was abandoned by my parents, and then my parents, my genetic parents, my adopted parents picked me up, and I never felt like a fit. I got into the cholo scene. I became a little mini gangbanger. I started tagging. I started throwing parties. I started raving. I tried all types, but every single time I would smoke a doobie, roll up a spliff and just smoke some weed, and then I would just stare into. I was the type of kid that would smoke weed and count chemtrails, or look at or watch documentaries, or watch Animal Planet. That's what I did. So I was like, I would rather fill my brain with like historical stuff, ancient civilizations, and where the dyes come from, how did the Egyptians use them, like stuff like that, instead of playing only Call of Duty. I play Call of Duty too, but I mean, like, I didn't do that for every little thing. I
Hmm.
didn't only consume drugs just to be drug and high and fucking a potato, right? I let my brain grow. So I never really fit in, bro. And just recently, well, in 2020, once like to call it the pandemic happened, um, we all lost lives, and it changed all of us. So we started getting vocal about it, and I started talking about this stuff with my best friend from high school, known him for 18 years. He gave me my first 100 episodes on a show. It was a duo. It was a duo before. It was just by myself, and yeah, we got into conspiracy topics, and then it just evolved from there. And just recently, 2, 3 years ago, that's when the show really started getting traction. I don't know what
Hmm.
it is, but barely now. It's a
Yeah,
testimony, bro. Yeah.
yeah. Well, no, it's a great show, man. So I can see why
Thank
it
you.
is. But I was very similar. 2020 was a big opening for me as well with this sort of stuff. I've always been a bit of a conspiracy-minded person, but I think
Hmm.
2020 sort of showed us that. I know it's one of those that splits opinions and
Hmm.
causes a lot of problems. But I think for the most people, you can see that was not right what happened in 2020 and around that time, when we were locked away and everything was taken from us and tomorrow was taken from us, to be honest. I know a lot of people got sick and that's terrible, obviously. But for me, tomorrow got took away. And I think for a lot of people that was the case, nothing was
Hmm.
guaranteed anymore. And I think
It changed us.
it changed
It changed us from the
100%, man.
inside out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%, man. I think as much as it was negative, it had a positive on in some aspects, I mean, I think I would have done a podcast. I'm sure you would have done a podcast as well. But
Mm.
it really pushed me into gear. I moved to a new area. I was in London and I moved to Dorset, to the
Hmm.
countryside,
Hmm.
which maybe I wouldn't have done if that didn't happen. So there's been some benefits for me, but it's a terrible time, man, for everyone. We all went through
Yeah.
it. And I've got to get into this. You mentioned an elf. You've got to tell me about that, brother. What happened?
Uh, before I tell you my story, I'm gonna lead off this story with this, like, so it becomes a little bit more impactful.
Hmm.
In Guadalajara, Mexico, where my adoptive mom is from, there's a story about called El Acordeón del Duende, which means the elf's accordion. And what happened in this story was the man got married, got his wife pregnant. He was about 40 years old, and he was an accordion player, and he was hired to play at a wedding once. And he did. He played with his band. They played all night, and he lived way across the other side of town. So in Mexico, not all the lights, not all the street lights or the valleys, or the alleys are lit up. So he decided to take the fast pace, the quick way. He took the alleys. Now the alleys passes through a lot of like what we call monte, which is like little mounds of little hills of just grass and open back, and then you see another house that's pretty far. You have to walk all the way through the back of the house, and you see the fence. You see a cow at the like maybe like half a mile away. So it's very country. So he took the back sides. He didn't want to go through all the brick walls and the cement. 30 minutes into the walk, he gets stopped by six duendes, which brownies, you would call them in the UK and Alps in many different areas of the world. They offered him money, they offered him jewelry and gold for music. So they told him, when the leader approached him and told him, hey, play us some music and we'll give you gold. The guy started playing music. He played music for over 10 years, lost time. What happened was he walked himself out of the trance. While he was playing music, he felt like he just played music for 15 minutes and they were dancing around him, jumped him. They jumped on him, they jumped off him, they were singing with him, and they let him go out of this trance. Over 10 years passed by. He saw that he was barefooted, he was dirty, beard, his accordion, his nails were beat up. He was walking on for 10 freaking years. He got home in the morning, knocked at the front gate. He saw that the gate was different. The front door was different, different colored. The town had changed. And a woman opens the door and it's his wife, and she's pregnant, mind you, again, by another man this time. She opens and she drops everything. She's like, Emilio, what the heck? His name was Emilio. Where you been all this time? He goes, I just came back from the wedding. He goes, I got lost. I got lost by some elves. They stopped me, and she's like, "What?" He goes, and she goes like, and then another man comes up and he goes, "Who is this man?" Her new husband. Mind you, so they're now interacting with each other, and then 2 minutes pass by, and then you hear Emilio, the mom calling on the kid. The kid is named Emilio, his son, Emilio's son. He shows up to the front door and looks at him, and he grins at Emilio, the father, and Emilio's like. He looks at his face, and the kid looked exactly like the duende leader that had stopped him. So they didn't only steal his time, but they stole his seed to become something demonic. So then he gets lost, bro. He drinks his life away, becomes one of the bums, homeless bums, playing his accordion and walking that same path for the rest of his life until he grows old to replay that moment and try to go back in time, try to meet these duendes again. The guy ends up carving all 6 faces of the duendes, of the elves, onto the accordion, and gives the accordion away to another kid. And he grows old, and everybody knew him as El Borrachito, which means the corner drunk, the village drunk. Because he would talk nonsense when he would drink. He would tell everybody about his story. Nobody believed him. So what happened after was, so that story resonates with me so freaking much because the very first time I've ever seen this duende, I was 22 years old, and I was fresh out of jail. I wasn't high. I wasn't drunk. I was coming out of work, and it was like 9 p.m. at night. It was a full moon. I remember that clearly. And I used to share rooms with one of my brothers, and one of my brothers, we used to have twin beds, which is like small little beds. We used to share rooms. And when he left running to go look for this girl, he was chasing a girl in Texas, so he wasn't living there anymore. He left a mound of dirty clothes on top of his freaking bed. And I remember that day that our window was opened, and the light of the moon was gleaming perfectly down to where the dirty clothes, or the dirty pile of clothes was. And I'm just staring. I don't know if you ever had one of those fluoride stairs. I like to call them comfortable stairs, when you're just staring into like the nothing.
Yeah.
And you're just just relax, do yourself back, and you're just like, just relax. Well, turns out that I stared into nothingness, and then I seen the top of the mound move, and it goes down. And I thought, at first, I was like, what the fuck? And then I refocused my vision onto the mound, and I'm like, what the hell did I just see? Am I tripping? And you know how sometimes your voice tells you, like, yeah, you're tripping, bro. Like you're talking to yourself in your brain, you're like, nah, don't worry about that. Like, whatever. I was about to look away when out of nowhere, the little dude goes like this. And he hides again. Dude, but we made eye contact. He went, boom. He looked at me, and then he drops down. Bro, I'm going to tell you like this. When he got up, he was no taller than this. He was this tall. And his head was about this big, like half of it, of his height was his head. He had a big old head, brown, and bald even. He kind of looked like me, like a mini version.
So for the people listening, that's the size of like a cell phone, or even smaller than that, really.
Smaller,
yeah,
bro.
That's
Smaller.
It half a cell phone.
Yeah, it's tiny. It's like half a cell phone. I'm talking about maybe 2.5 inches.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah. So I seen him, and I followed him when he jumped behind my dresser, behind my TV. And mind you, back then we didn't have flat screen TVs. This is one of those TVs that had the big old hunchbacks. And I seen him, and then it kept bouncing back, kept bouncing. And I left the door slightly opened. And at the same time that I see him go behind the TV, right to split through the door, he goes like this to me, watch. He pulls his head out of the TV like this. And we lock. We lock, bro. And I'm looking at him and like, what the crap? And I'm just like, at this point, I'm in shock. I didn't move. I was like just staring at him, bro. And then he goes and he splits out the door, bro. But in like something magical. I seen him run. I seen his body jump, almost like a cartoon. Like I seen his body go and jump, and you could see his body jump. And the same second that he splits out the door, my dad opens the door to his room and walks very slow because he was an older gentleman. Walks very slow into the restroom. And then the next morning, so I spent all night waiting for him to come back. That creature. The next morning, I woke up and I told my mom, I'm like, Mom, you won't believe what happened. She's like, what? And I was choked up. She goes, what happened? I'm like, I seen an elf. She goes, you seen an elf? I'm like, Mom, I seen an elf. And she's like, Mijo, it's okay. And she just slaps my back and she's like, it's okay. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, don't talk about it. Don't say anything. Don't look for it. Don't leave offerings. Let it be. You probably even might see him again. And I looked at her and I told her, what? Like, you're acting like this is normal. She goes, like, I used to see him when I was a kid. Now, there's two factors here. Then she told me the story of the accordion. She goes, she told me, in my head, I'm playing out two scenarios. Why is she telling me not to fuck with him? Now, either that elf was attached to her through some traumatic experience. Maybe that story had something to do with one of her family members. You see what I'm saying? What I'm trying to get at?
Yeah.
That she's telling me, don't trip. This is mine, not yours, you know? Or she really had seen them also as a child, like she told me in Guadalajara. So at this point, bro, I'm tripping balls. Yeah, but that story is as livid in my brain as if it happened yesterday. It's never gonna change. Like I could see it. It's like if I could almost relive it. And yeah, bro, it's very intense.
Wow, man. Can you describe to me what he looked like? Did he look like a little person, basically?
He
Like,
looked exactly like a little person, brown. He had a big ass head, black hair, wrinkles. He had like a wrinkly forehead. He had like maybe like a mole coming out. He had like a dot. I think it was like a mole. But at his features, I'm telling you, bro, I was probably about 7 feet away from him when I seen it. So I seen him very, very clearly.
hmm
He had a black, brown, a very dark colored shirt and shorts. Very, very, very skinny feet. His feet were bigger than like his feet. He had skinny legs and larger than usual feet, like not proportioned. That's what I'm trying to get at.
hmm
His brain wasn't proportioned. Like I think he looked almost like if he freaking walked, he would like wobble sideways of how heavy his head was because his head was bigger than most of his torso. He had a big head. Very weird creature. Never seen him again in my entire life. But I remember when I did. Yeah, man.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I've talked
People
to
don't believe me. People
no,
never believe me.
I believe you, brother. I believe you. I mean, I've seen enough weird stuff and freaky stuff to know that there's a lot more going on in this world. Sometimes we don't always see it, but we get glimpses every now and again, and 100%. Wow. I mean, I've talked to many people that have seen like elf-like creatures,
Mhm.
and the similarities that I've heard quite often is they say about like the brown, how they look brown, you know, and
That one was brown.
I've
Yes.
I've heard people say they've seen things like your stereotypical, you've seen like the gnomes with like the red hats and stuff like that and the white
Mhm.
beards. I've
Mhm.
spoken to people that have seen that, but
Mhm.
they're like instead of seeing color, they're like a brown, like the whole of
Mhm.
it. That's
Mhm.
very interesting, man.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Mine was an ugly son of a gun. He was ugly. He wasn't
So,
he wasn't pretty looking. He wasn't like an ornament. No, this guy looked r real and weird shaped, weird proportioned. And I could almost say he almost looked like me, like in a very, very old version of me.
mhm.
Like tiny, like if I saw myself on a mini reflection, or maybe that's what he wanted me to see. But a lot of these connections. Now that I did a deep dive on what the hell I saw, and it turned out that it could have been a brownie. But I also did a deep dive, and that's not. I'm not trying to be a preacher or anything, but
Mhm.
it has to do a lot with DNA hacked and generational trauma. So the reason I'm saying that is because not because I was directly involved with some like black magic, but so my mother, my genetic mother, she's from Guatemala, and she was number 11th out of I think 14 kids, and her mother basically just shitted her out. She had her, got the placenta, got all the cables, got her, and threw her in the trash can. My mother, my mother's grandmother, which is my great grandmother, picked her up. My great grandmother was known to be the local village witch. And what I mean witch is not like regular little witch. Like she was a full-on curandera, which she would pull out parasites out of your gut and curses out of your gut in balls of hair. Like if you just swallow like balls like a cat, she would pull out demons out of you. And she was a medium. Well, one of the payment methods that she would take was sleeping with married men after they would ask for favors. If they didn't have the means to pay or to pay the blood sacrifice, she would take the men and seduce them, have sex with them, play curses on them. And then after she completed her mission, she would become a wild hog and murder the men. She was a shapeshifter. That happened 15 times. She murdered 15 men in that village. It's called Walan Zacapa. The village is called Zacapa. And they stoned her to death. The village women, still to this day, people in Guatemala still stone you to death. If you are caught cheating with a married man, they stone you to death. Still to this day, they take things into their own manner. So they stoned her to death, and then my mom went crazy. My mom fled because they were going to stone her too. My mom fled the place. She was only 9 years old when she fled the place. And then she appeared here in the United States and then met my dad, etc. That's a whole different story. But I'm not saying I'm connected. I'm not saying I'm a medium. I'm not saying I have special powers. God forbid. I do. I don't want that. I don't want those gifts, powers, curses. But my family definitely dove deep into some stuff. And my grandmother was definitely somebody to be reckoned with during her time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's wild.
And I just recently started speaking with my mom again, try to like have like emotional closure, right? And
Hmm.
and then I asked her about that, and she told me, no, mijo, she was a good woman. She was, but my mom went crazy. My mom, I remember when I was younger, my mom used to tell me that she used to sleep in a hammock, and she had long, silky black hair, and she would throw her black hair, and then at night, the spirit of my great grandmother would come and braid her hair, and then my mom would wake up with her hair braided. My mom went crazy for a while. My mom used to do like blood rituals for people, and she used to sacrifice her own like vagina juices to do like sex magic and stuff, like crazy shit. My mom lost her virginity to a tree trunk. I know that's gonna hit you like
Bro,
weird, but like yeah, bro, some freaking freaky shit. Like you get freaky.
that is freaky, man. Why? Wow.
Yeah,
Brother,
bro.
I
Mm.
don't even know where to go now. That's incredible. So,
Yeah.
would your mother see your grandmother shapeshift and things like that?
My mom told me that she used to see how demons would come and whisper in her ear while she would have like medium parties and like tell her things to tell the people. And then and that makes sense a lot now because
Hmm.
I don't believe people have power to talk to the dead biblically. I see everything through a biblical lens. Then I don't want to bash on people that don't. I'm just saying myself, right?
Hmm.
And these mediums, they don't have communications. Like I've had mediums on the show, and I've entertained the idea of them doing what they do, because people need to hear this message out too. And then the show is not only about what I think; it's about what other people think too, right? This is the point of podcasting. But yeah, when what I saw was what she told me that she saw was that she shapeshifted into a wild hog, like with the tusks and everything, and she would run over men and then kill the men. And then every single time she would shapeshift, she would come back younger. Some Disney Channel shit, bro. I'm telling you. Like younger, like from her
Wow.
face, complexion. Yeah. Blood sacrifice, bro. Mm.
Wow. And was this a generational thing? Was this like
I don't
her
go that
mother
far.
and
I
her
haven't
mother?
I haven't gone that far. But I do know that my mom went crazy for a bit. Even my dad used to tell me, like, your mom's freaking crazy. You don't even know your mom's history and this and that. And yeah, so but there's a reason why they're not in the country anymore, you know? They behave like criminals, they have to go like criminals. It just happens. Shit happens in life. But yeah, man,
Man,
trip out. Crazy life.
wow. Wow, brother. So that experience you had with the elf-like
Mhm.
creature,
Mhm.
was that the first time you'd experienced anything yourself, supernatural?
The first and the last. That's the most recent. That's the only time I've ever experienced any type of paranormal stuff.
Mhm.
What I can't tell you right now, it's kind of like what I told Huntress, Jessica Jones from the Cryptid Huntress.
Oh,
She's
she's
amazing.
awesome. She is awesome. Yeah.
what I told her, I think I'm gonna be on a live on her show soon. What I told her was, because she's also very gifted when it comes to like the dream realm, right?
Hmm.
And what I told her is that I'm a livid, lucid dreamer. That I'm the type of person that I could think of what I want, visualize it, go to sleep and dream about it, and could be able to control the dream. The next day, I'm restless, I'm exhausted, but I have fun doing that on call. The thing is, I exhaust myself so much that when I try to do it the next day, or I break through a threshold, or I call it consequence in my
Hmm.
dream, whatever the consequence is, I can't control the consequence. So I wake up, drink some water, come back 15 minutes later, and I try to dive back into it. And she's like, "What you are doing is tapping into the dream realm, and you are visualizing a different reality." And I didn't know that was something special. And then she told me that, like, bro, like that what you're experiencing and telling me is what I do almost for a living. And I was like, get the fuck out. And it shows because she's successful.
Yeah,
So I mean,
man,
she's
for sure.
tapped into some type of frequency where she's able to manifest and attract energies,
Hmm.
attract
Hmm.
wealth,
Yeah,
through different
yeah,
means. But that's very important, bro. Like I only wish to be trained like a Jedi, man, or a
yeah,
Sith Lord.
yeah.
I'm a Star Wars geek.
Mate, I love Star Wars. I'm actually starting. I know, going a little bit off track there, but I'm actually going to start Star Wars from the beginning and watch them all again.
Oh,
I
bro.
was thinking that the other day, and the question is, do you start from the original three and do it in order of as they were released, or do you start from the order that the film's going? But
How do you mind? I'll give you this answer right now. How old are you? Do you mind me asking?
yeah, no problem. 37, brother. 37.
Okay,
So,
I'm 34. I'm about to be 35. So we're about the same.
mhm.
Start with the prequels
Okay.
because the trilogy is the trilogy. Don't get me wrong. The
Hmm.
trilogy is like you can't have nothing without the trilogy. That's what everything starts, right?
Yeah.
For the saga.
Hmm.
But if you wanna like really understand the role, Palpatine, the mischief, the who was into it, who was not, the extra outer theories of Jar Jar Binks being a Sith, which also when it became canon later in the animes, right, in animation. Or if you want to understand all of that and then get to Luke, get to Leia, and all the good stuff that happens, you have to watch the prequels. So you
Yes.
and I became a Star Wars fan because of the prequels, and then I liked the trilogy, and I'm okay with the sequels, I guess. Whatever about it, but but like if you want to start it, I would suggest because of the age,
Yeah.
you would have to watch the
That's
prequels and
the
then watch
way.
them from 1 to 3. Yeah,
Okay, that's what I'm going to do then, and that's how they set it up on the Disney Plus app. Like
hmm
they recommend it that way. That's what I'm going
hmm
to do. So I'm going to start. I might even
yeah,
start it tonight. We'll see.
yeah. That's a long saga, bro. It's gonna
No,
take you
but
a lot of.
I know. There's a lot, and then there's obviously the series. There's all the
hmm
Boba Fett
hmm
series and all that. So it's going to be a
Yeah,
long road, but we'll go. We'll do it. We'll do it.
yeah,
So
man.
going back to those dreams, that sounds very much like astral projection. What you're experiencing.
hmm
It
hmm
fits that sort of, which I feel that kind of scares me, but I feel like I would like to be able to say, go to New York tonight and walk around and see the world, and
hmm
and a lot of people can do that, man. A lot of people can leave their body, and I'm not saying that's what you're doing. It sounds sort of similar. I know in the dream state, this is the thing: is it a dream state thing? Are you in a dream
hmm
world, or are you really traveling to that place? It's
hmm
opinions vary, but it's very interesting, man. Very interesting that you can naturally do that.
I haven't astral projected myself, but astral projecting is very real.
Hmm.
Um, and it was also weaponized. And I'm trying to pull up my old notes here of lucid dreaming, sound technology, sonic wave manufacturing, and guided meditations, insight timers. These are all different things that were by patent technology, U.S. military patent technology, where people were being utilized to see inside Hitler's bunker or where he was hidden.
Hmm.
So they were projecting them to see where they were at, and then they were able to, tell the Allied forces to penetrate different parameters. But I couldn't find it. But if you guys look it up, guys, don't take my word for it. The United States government, along with many other allies, they played a huge role in. I would call it abusing, but transforming that energy, that that frequency into a weapon. They were transforming it. So it's very. Yeah, man. Crazy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, it makes sense that you've kind of got these abilities as well. If it's in your family, it's in your blood, man. You naturally got some of
Uh,
these.
You know what, bro? I've recently learned that you're not here to find yourself, you're here to create yourself.
Hmm.
If I continue saying that I have these gifts because of my generations before me, and then I try to do that, I'm not only evoking what they were, but I'm also invoking their demons, and that's something that I don't want to live with. I'm trying to break the chains of misery and loneliness and unhappiness and addiction and everything that my parents did also come with, because
Hmm.
even though they had gifts, right, they had downfalls. And that's what I'm trying to avoid, the downfalls, regardless of how powerful the gifts are. That's not my juice. That's not what I want. I don't want those powers. I want to be
Hmm.
free. I want to be happy. To be able to say be happy and free, that's one of the most important things in life. And
100%.
so at the end of the day, even if it runs in my roots or it doesn't, I don't want to tap into it in the manner that they did. If it's there, it's there. If it doesn't, it's not. It's not. Um, I was gonna take this conversation elsewhere, but uh, same in the cryptid world. I recently did a deep dive on the Olmecs. So now the Olmecs is one of the seven wonders of the world, man. They were one of the oldest civilizations that ever existed. And I recently found out that the Olmecs didn't only so that when we see the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Incas, even, and the Olmecs sacrificing towards the sun and to the stars, we think of like they were trying to satisfy the thirst of a bloodthirsty god. But it's actually more within the duality wave function type of shit. They had a matrix codex that they were trying to use biometrics to open the Earth's frequency so they were able to upload themselves and their consciousness into another dimension, the metaverse, to avoid judgment. So they weren't trying to satisfy and make the rain fall from the sky and Quetzalcoatl came over here and abundant them. No, that was like the belief. But the priests knew that they were in the Yucatan Peninsula using the cave system, making sure that sound travels better through water, which is does. In hashtag look it up, that is real.
Hmm.
They would use biometrics and bloodshed, which is your biometric, to be able to tap into a different dimension. Do you know who else used bloodshed to tap you into a different dimension called salvation? Jesus. You see what I'm saying that, right? So
Hmm.
this is the same magic. It's been introduced to us before. And I'm not saying that Jesus did magic. What I'm saying is it was done before trying to mimic that. And that's why the 1,000 faces and the author of lies is trying to always divide us and confuse us. Now, and I don't want to get preachy, but the point is, do you know what else and what type of people want to take our consciousness and put us in a freaking machine? Put a chip in our brain, make our consciousness live forever in the metaverse? The freaking elite, right?
Hmm.
Elon
Hmm.
Musk, you got Bill Gates trying to block the sun and put us into a machine, straight out of the Matrix movie, bro. You see
Hmm.
what I'm saying, that right? And then you
100%.
have the obsession of every single ruler, king, emperor, obsessed with living forever by echoing their name, erecting statues, and living in the frequency of thought and memory behind people, on money, on coins, in history books. We keep history, so they live forever in that frequency, but they were never able to tap into living into the living organic algorithm of the earth.
Hmm.
That's kind of like what I'm trying. So there is an organic algorithm. There's a reason why trees, they grow next to each other, but they never block each other from having each other's nutrients or suns. They talk to each other with their roots and share their health through the roots. So if you see a tree that's dying and there's many other trees around them, they're all supplying energy to that tree so you could survive, never blocking each other from the sun. That's the organic algorithm I'm talking about. You see remnants of that in the movie of Avatar. They communicate each other with Mousinia. I forget the fungus, algae, right?
Hmm.
So I'm going all over the place. But the point is, how cryptic is that, bro? In the Yucatan Peninsula, there's this thing called mal vientos, which means terrible winds. If you go into those cave systems, you come back with stutters, dreams, gifts like lucid dreaming, power from beyond. You come talking in different tongues. It's weird. You forget memory loss, time loss. So it's like you see entities. So it's a very rich and pulsating area of the world where a lot of things are being manifested. Not only that, but do you know where the top 3, 4 software technologies are based at? Software
Uh,
developing technology in the Yucatan Peninsula. coincidence.
Really interesting, man.
So I'm breaking
Interesting.
into something here.
Yeah,
All I'm doing is theorizing like a conspiracy theorist and bringing
yeah,
in the world of cryptic stuff. But yeah, it's very
yeah,
interesting, bro.
yeah. That's what we like, man. That's what we like. I mean, you mentioned Elon Musk there. It's been a pretty wild week for him. I
Yeah.
mean, that was wild. I mean, I think was it Sunday night when there was a battle between Musk and Trump.
Yeah, all last week. I think it started on Thursday,
Yeah,
and then they fucking
bro,
nuts.
it got wild.
Yeah.
And then Musk
Mhm.
obviously tweeted that about the Epstein Island and Trump and then he took it back a
Mhm.
couple of days ago and said he was out of line. And then what was it? Like a few days before that, he was with Trump in the White House, and
Mhm.
he had like a black eye, and he was
Mhm.
doing this weird thing where he seemed to be I don't know what was going on. He was sort of in another world for a moment there, and the the
Mhm.
camera was just on his face. Bizarre times, man. But you think you've seen it all, and
Mhm.
and I just don't know what to think anymore, bro. I really
You know,
don't.
it's a freaking movie, bro. It's a freaking movie. And I understand this. Now that I'm more like in tuned with conspiracy theories, I'm gonna tell you
Yeah,
something, bro. I can't watch or listen music anymore. Like I'll listen to like 80s music only because that's real music. I
great
freaking
music.
bro, amazing music, bro. The pop, the rock. Come on, dude. They don't make music like that anymore. I
Mhm.
came up in an era where music was telling me how to be a pimp, slap bitches, and sell drugs. Now it's about being a bitch, get slapped, and do drugs. It's the opposite now, right? It's all bought out and sold out like fucking jesters. But the point is, yeah, man, the 80s music is the shit, bro. And then I can't watch anything that's not like my top three. I could tell you my top three saga movies is Star Wars, Jurassic Park, and The
Yes.
Matrix. I see nothing else. Like everything else is
Yeah.
like I can't watch it. Look at all the Illuminati, look at the Freemasons, and don't get me wrong, Jurassic Park is filled with fucking bullshit, right? And in all the like everything, but I cannot enjoy entertainment anymore, especially when they're trying to indoctrinate our kids, bring all the freaking LGBT. And I don't know how you feel about this. I'm just saying my
Mhm.
opinions at Paranoid Radio is,
Mhm.
you could shove whatever you want in your back door. Just keep away from the kids.
Oh,
It's very easy.
100%, man. Yeah, 100%. That's why a lot of the Disney movies now are ruined, the new ones,
Hmm, hmm.
where they start kids shouldn't be seeing anything to do with that sort of stuff. They don't need it. They don't need it until they're old enough. When they're old enough, they're going to work that sort of stuff out anyway. They don't need it when they're kids,
Hmm,
man. You don't
hmm.
need to keep throwing that in their faces. So yeah, I'm with you there, brother, for sure. 100%.
Hmm.
I will tell you something good to watch that I watched recently. I watched it through religiously and absolutely loved it. Yellowstone. Have you watched
It's a
Yellowstone?
good.
Oh,
No,
bro,
never watched it. Mm.
it's so good. And then you got Yellowstone, then you got 1883, and then you got 1923, I think. And
1983,
no,
1986,
eh,
1984, I think it's called. It's good. It's a good
uh,
book.
no, but there's a Yellowstone 1923. There's another like series
Mm,
related to Yellowstone called 1923.
mhm, mhm.
Incredible, incredible, brother. If you enjoy it,
I gotta check it out.
I love like American history and stuff, and that it just gives you a taste of the Wild West. And we live in
Mhm.
wild times now, that is for sure, but it was wild times then as well. So
Yeah, man.
I
I
recommend.
you know what? I'll be honest with you. The UK has Europe, the city of London, all of Europe, Asia, uh, very rich, very very rich history everywhere.
Mhm,
A lot of kingdoms, a lot of empires, dynasties, and
mhm.
all of that. And the technology lost, bro. I was recently finding out that in Europe they used to drink out of they used to do light therapy through glass and they would buy I forget the name. I'm Distonian, what is it? I forgot the name of the color, but it's different glasses that when you travel, then you press it with, when you shine UV light through it, it glows. So people would drink out of these glasses and
Hmm.
put to because it has healing properties. So they would use that same type of glass on cathedrals and different walls and different places of the of worship, so that when the shine would come up from the east and then just um beam through the light through the windows, they would worship and then they would get light therapy. And light therapy is a real thing, bro. Red light therapy, blue light therapy. We have UV, we got sunlight that you get vitamin D out of it. Red therapy has been used to cure cancer and many different things. Still to the day, it's mainstream science now.
Hmm.
And I have this theory that if they can do all of that good stuff, with light therapy, I could only imagine what they can do negatively towards your body.
Yeah,
So
100%,
if you,
man.
if you think about how many kids, and this is me just going freaking crazy on a conspiracy tantrum here. If you see how many kids use devices nowadays and how much blue light they're exposed to, you start connecting the dots of how much homosexuality is being bombarded everywhere.
Hmm.
So maybe
Yeah.
there's a maybe there's a hormone disruptor in blue light that we don't know about that gets you unemotionally or at least chemically unstable. So that's just
Hmm.
a thought, guys. I'm just connecting dots. But hey, if there's any conspiracy theories out there, look into that, man. Light therapy is really good, and it came out of Europe. So and that's what I'm saying, that the history behind many different areas of the world is amazing.
Man, it's a wild world. It's a wild world, brother. And we've gone everywhere tonight. But I just want to kind of just round it off and go back to your incredible elf encounter.
Mhm.
I just, what do you do? What do you think was going on there? Do you think that was a real entity? Do you think you were seeing a physical, living creature, or do you think that was more of a spiritual? What do you think that was?
At this, that's a really good question. I never thought about it, but I could put it into a definition now. When I saw it at the time, I know what I saw, and it was very, very physical, and it was real. It was a real entity, 100%. There's no doubt
Hmm.
in my mind. There's no doubt I have that burning sensation. It was real. Now that I'm older, and now that I know a little bit more about the spiritual warfare that we're all being forced to endure, uh, I know that it was meant to confuse me. So let's just say that let's just say that it piqued my curiosity, and I started diving into how do I get in contact with it? How do I manifest it? You never know what I could have tapped into. Maybe technology, maybe thoughts, maybe a book, maybe ideas, a business idea. I don't know. Maybe I would have sold my soul. I don't know. I'm spitballing ideas at you. But
Hmm.
now as I'm older, I understand that that was 1,000% an entity that was sent to me to divide my thoughts, my emotions, and mislead me in a spiritual realm. So that if I ever did have any remnant part of trauma in my genetic code, that I was able to be gifted and tapped into it, that would have been what pushed me off the ledge so that I could practice dark arts. So I know for a fact that that was a spiritual attack.
Hmm.
Maybe it didn't look like an attack with a knife and stuff, right? But it was 1000% a spiritual movement. It was a
Hmm.
conspiracy.
Interesting, man. Which I
Yeah.
think we are constantly attacked spiritually. I do think that happens as
Mhm.
well, and that is happening. Brother, thank you, man. You blow my mind tonight, brother. Thank you so much. I know we've gone everywhere tonight, but it's been super
Yeah.
interesting. And I'd love to get you back on, man. We can talk more. We can deep
Mhm.
dive into some conspiracy sometime. That'd be pretty cool. But keep up the
Yeah.
great work, man. Keep up the great work. Keep doing what you're doing because it's awesome. You've got some awesome energy. Can you tell the
Thank you.
listeners where they can find you?
First of all, I want to thank again the Lord for allowing me to be here and every single one of you for opening up your ears and letting me just talk my stuff. If you guys think I'm crazy, hey, welcome to the freaking party. Sometimes I talk to myself and say, hey, I need special advice from a very special and therapeutic specialist, and that's myself. Guys, I am a little nuts, but check us out at paranoi We have great special guests. We do go religious sometimes. There's government elements into it. There's cryptids. There's crazy stuff. There's documentaries about people that just live a better life. You don't have to keep it crazy all the time. I love bringing in the show, and we definitely keep it paranoid in all types of senses. I like to stick it to the man, guys, but I am also a father. I'm a husband, and I'm a God-fearing man now. I'm sober, thank God, and I'm producing a lot of content for you guys, and it's absolutely free. I also like to say this on the show when I start the show, guys. If you guys have been contemplating or entertaining the idea of suicide, guys, I don't need no more family, no more brothers, sisters, daughters, uncles crying or weeping because you took your life. Live 10 more seconds, go to the website, and you don't have to subscribe, you don't have to like, you don't have to do nothing, but live 10 more seconds. Go to paranoidradio.com, and there's a 24/7 life button that you could chat, text, or call immediately and put your burden on somebody else. Sometimes all you need is to belong, and there's people out there putting that effort out there to make sure that you belong and stay and continue to stay alive. It is June, and it is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and I just wanted to promote that on the show, guys. I don't get a dime for that. That is completely free. So, guys, live strong, and keep praying and stay focused. And thank you so much, bro. Thank you so much for having me on
Thank
the
you,
show.
brother. God bless you, man. That is a very strong message to finish on. So thank you very much, man. You're a legend, brother. And let's do this again soon. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. Make sure you give us both 5 stars. Click on our show and give us both 5 stars. That helps us massively as well. And yeah, we'll be back very soon for more freaky conversations. In the meantime, stay safe and keep it freaky. Thank you very much, my brother. You're a legend. Thank you.
Thank you.